Hello YouTubers and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be working on my wife's 2013 Lexus GS350. I just completed the spring inspection on it and holy cow, look at all that rust. I don't know what kind of salt Michigan was using last winter, but it sure did do some cosmetic damage to the underside of our Lexus. The underside of this car has never looked this bad before, and I should know because I inspect it twice a year, once in the spring and again in the fall. Every fall I go through a checklist to get our cars ready for winter. This checklist includes sanding down any rust I see on the subframe and painting it. Obviously, the sanding and painting that I have been doing to prevent the rust from spreading hasn't been working, so I'm going to try a better rust inhibitor called POR15. I know the rust looks pretty bad, but thankfully this is only surface rust and hasn't compromised the rigidity of the subframe, yet. No doubt applying this product from POR15 will be a very long and tedious job, but in the end it'll be worth it to stop further rust damage. I purchased this POR15 kit from Amazon. I'll leave links to all the supplies I purchased in the description. This kit includes 1 quart of degreaser, 1 quart of metal prep, and 1 quart of semi-gloss black rust preventative coating. You'll also need some paint brushes, wire brushes, eye protection, cups for pouring the product into, protective gloves, and I highly recommend a face respirator to deal with the toxic fumes. So let's get started. Here I'm using a wire brush and wire wheel to remove any loose fragments of rust from the subframe. This is a very time-consuming process and it took me a good 45 minutes to get all the loose fragments of rust removed. Prep work is the most important step in ensuring a good outcome. Definitely take your time with preparing the surface to ensure the coating will bond well with the metal. If you get lazy with preparation, then the coating will not bond and will later peel off. I didn't want to bore you guys with the full 45 minutes of me prepping this surface, but figured these 2 clips will give you an idea of what I went through. So I got a lot of the loose rust removed with the wire brush as best as I could. So next I'm going to do the cleaning and degreasing. And the directions here say that you mix 4 parts water to every 1 part of this cleaner and degreaser. So let's go ahead and get that mixed up. Alright, got everything all mixed up, ready to start degreasing the parts, so I'm just going to spray it on. I'm also using a rag soaked in the degreaser to help me get to some of the hard to reach areas. After letting the degreaser soak into the parts for a good 15 minutes, it's now time to rinse the parts off. Before applying the metal prep product, make sure the surface of the parts are bone dry. This stuff can discolor paint and chrome finishes, so be mindful to only apply this product to the parts you are coating. I decided to use the brush method when applying the metal prep to the parts I was coating. Using this brush method will give me better control of where the product is being applied versus a spray bottle. The reason for this is I didn't want the product to discolor the paint or in a worst case scenario, remove the paint from the underside of the car. POR15 recommends that this product be applied in temperatures above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. and you must keep the surface of the parts wet with metal prep for at least 20 minutes. I went a step further and kept the surface of my parts wet for 30 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, this was a grueling and very time-consuming process. I know it looks easy on video, but you'll be surprised by how quickly your arm will get tired from constantly trying to keep the surface wet for the recommended 20-minute time interval, or in my case, 30 minutes. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes, so now I'm gonna start rinsing everything. The day was almost over by the time I completed the metal prep and rinsing step, so I decided to stop here and let the parts dry overnight. This will ensure the parts will be bone dry when I start applying the rust preventative coating tomorrow. Before applying POR15, I stir the product as recommended and then pour what I need into a cup. After filling the cup with the amount of product I need, I immediately reseal the can so the product will stay good. I started out by applying POR15 to the differential and then moving to the subframe. By the time I applied the first coat to all of the parts, an hour had already passed, and the coating was starting to dry. So by the time I was done with the first coat, I was ready for the second coat. Since I was applying this product using the brush method, it was a very grueling and time-consuming process just like it was when applying the metal prep, but only worse. I left a couple of clips that are each a few minutes long for the people who want to see me suffer while applying this coating. If you don't want to watch this, skip to the 8-minute and 35-second mark to see the finished product. So here's the finished product after drying for 24 hours. Like I said earlier, this was a grueling and time-consuming process, but I hope it pays off. I tried my best to minimize accidentally applying the product to parts that shouldn't be coated, but accidents do happen, and my brush ended up bumping against the rear exhaust pipes a couple of times. Oh well. So far, my first impressions with POR15 are very good. The coating appears to have bonded really well with the parts. I even took a screwdriver trying to scrape off the coating where it shouldn't be, but it wouldn't budge at all. Impressive. This will be a 3-part YouTube series on rust prevention for our Lexus. Part 1 is this video where I apply POR15. Part 2 will be a video on how to apply fluid film, which will act as a second measure to further prevent rusting. And Part 3 will be about how this preventative strategy has worked after it's been subjected to our harsh Michigan winters. Keep an eye out for Part 3 of this series in the springtime of next year. Time will tell how this product will hold up against our Michigan winters, but I have high hopes that our car is now fully protected. If you have any questions on how to apply POR15 to your vehicle, leave them down below in the comments section, and I'll do my best to answer them. If you'd like to see more Lexus DIY videos, make sure you smash that like button. So long.